Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone around the world. I am Paul Sisler, and this is In the Moment. And in the moment, we are going to discuss the meaning of life. We're going to go back to Aristotle. Yet, we're not going back to Aristotle. We are going to transform what the meaning of life, the purpose of life actually is. And we're going to talk about building the edifice of life, because there's a lot of ways to look at purpose and meaning and how you present yourself in this world and what you do for self. And to help us discuss all of this today is my cohorts in crime, Shadow Fox and Lee Two Hawks. Hello, hello, hello.
I didn't do it. No
Yes,
crying.
you did.
Oh, gee.
He did it. He definitely did it. Yes, he definitely did it. So, oh my. I knew the phone was going to ring the moment we started. I just knew it. And it was like right on cue, you know.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, it's Publishers Clearinghouse.
No.
Here.
We won. Wouldn't it be great? Yes. I love it. Yeah, I think this is a really great topic. There's probably let's just consider three areas that we'd really like to cover. But before we do that, I'd like to turn it over to Lee Two Hawks and have him, let's just say, for him to describe really what is edifice, what of life, what does that mean? And we can use this as a starting point, I think.
Edifice structurally is a building. It is usually referred to in a building that's imposing, that pleases the eye, that manifests itself as a place I'd like to be, I'd like to live in. To use it allegorically as we are, is what you build emotionally, mentally, and physically in your inner world, in your outer world. The outer world is that which is affected by your immediate environment, by the wider environment of politics and weather, so many other things.
Through our emotions and our thoughts.
Well, I thought I said that, but I didn't. Yes. Those things that we have operative modems, shall we say.
Yes. So, Paul, if we were to take a look at, that part of, what is our purpose here? In this human, aspect that we live in, is it just for like survival? I mean, like, do we just get up and go to work and get a paycheck, or hopefully we get a paycheck and then after we pay all the bills, we're still just as poor or rich as we were in the morning? I mean, talk about a little bit about that aspect of that survival position.
Well, it's more than just that, okay? When I hear people go, the meaning of life is, or the purpose of life is, I look at it this way. The initial aspect of life, the purpose, the meaning, you're born and now you have to survive in this world, okay? So that's the essence of what life is survive purpose. And I present this from a person self who has lost purpose quite a few times in life. And when you have no purpose, then you have no value. And when you have no value, you now look at life as, why am I even here? Mm-hmm. And then you look at a bottle of pills, you look at a razor blade, you look at the end of a gun. Okay. And with that, I look at things differently, because we have to survive, and if you're going to survive in this world, you then must create an essence for that value that you have. Now, if you remember in an episode before, I presented a bill. No matter how you crumble it up, no matter how dirty it gets, it still has that value.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if I lose that value, then I'm no longer there. And how do you lose that value of that bill? You burn it, you destroy it, you eliminate it. It then becomes ash, it becomes carbon. It still continues, but it may not have that same value.
Right.
So for me, I look at life as a value. You have to have that self-worth and that value. So survival is the beginning aspect of building that edifice. You have to give yourself purpose, you have to give yourself value, and you have to hold on to that. And that's what keeps me going. I am now giving myself more purpose and along with that, because you help give me the pathway for me to construct that new purpose.
Okay.
You don't
So,
give me the purpose, I construct it.
correct. Now, this part where, Lee Two Hawks was speaking on the edifice. Again, it comes down to our actions, our words, our deeds, how we choose to negate life.
So it really comes down to what you're choosing, the world you are choosing to live in by projecting your own perceptions, your own ideals, your own belief systems or system of beliefs onto the outer world, which are sometimes thrown back in your face, or sometimes you affect or create an effect on other people, on the environment you're in.
Yeah.
It all depends. So the choice becomes, do you build an imposing structure of beauty to the eye or moving to the heart? That inner self, when people perceive you, what do they see? Or do you create the ruins of an impoverished mind? What a horrible statement. Lacking of care or concern, understanding or compassion or recognition of the family of humanity. Usually that turns out to be one of only and entirely personal gain or dominion or some aspect of where you have control. Because you do have control, but is it controlled in a manner which helps others, helps yourself, does not create darkness, but creates light instead?
You know, we take a look and we can bring it right down into this everyday, today reality. Again, how many people really choose to only validate themselves by what others think of them, or how to be accepted within this human sphere of influence? And I will say, when we take a look, and now I'm going to kind of give you my definition for purpose. Again, everybody's going to have a very individualized purpose, such as, becoming, the next Whitney Houston or Taylor Swift, or, the next best architect, or, gee, I don't know, Einstein.
Elon.
Yeah. Well, nah, sorry. Yeah, I know you like. I know you care for him, and
I
he's
don't,
all right.
I don't like Elon, but I like what Tesla and SpaceX and Neuralink and Starlink.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like those ideas of
yeah.
innovation. I just don't like the person that's behind it.
Behind it. So and again, this could be another aspect that we could speak about when we get towards the
Right.
end of this segment, because I really would like to make a mention here on this, the spiritual aspect. Everybody talks about the spiritual aspect. Well, actually, no, this is the part of all of reality for
Yes.
everyone, for everyone. Our purpose here as coming in and playing human, okay, um, really is for us to recognize who we truly are and the power that we have and what we can do to change the world for the better. For in our hands, isn't it, Nelson Mandela had said, it is in your hands, one person's hands, to bring that beautiful change to the world. And for us, our purpose is to recognize that light within us and to be able to send that beautiful radiatory light out to our human fellows, everybody across the planet, raising the vibration not only of humanity, but that of this earth. Seriously. And there are ways to do that. We can start cleaning up this atmosphere that we're living in, that we've created for eons through all of our thoughts and feelings within that structure. We can clean that up. So we're not constantly being infecting others with it. We've had, come on, how many eons have we had where we've had all these great leaders that have come in and conquered all these different places? Well, how about the people you conquered? I mean, why? It was, they were living there before anybody else came. So when we think about what is our purpose, is our purpose to conquer life, or is our purpose to step into the flow of that beautiful life stream, that energy that comes forward, that compels us? Our very own spirit compels us for success. Okay, well, what is that idea of success? Is it like beauty is in the eye of the beholder? Ooh, is it always in search of that perfection? And perfection does exist, guys. I know people say, oh, there's nothing in this real world that is perfection. Ah, what world do we speak of? Because within the realm of spirit, it is all perfection. It could be nothing else. There are no limits. There are no limitations, only what we create. So purpose truly is for us to find our very own expression. Would we like to express and be kind and loving and forgiving to another human being? Or do we care to be opposing and nasty and discordant?
Okay, I would take, let me just state it a different way. In my esoteric frame of mind, my statement in choosing to be born would not be just to survive. There would be a purpose in that choosing of the geography, of the parents, of the time and events that are occurring. And there's a great deal that has to go into that thought prior to coming into this earth plane. Now, let me quote a little bit from David Hawkins, if I might. I know there are a couple out there that understand the book, okay? Everything is already complete beyond time and space, definition, or separation. That's such a critical thought to think about. The other thing he says is perception is arbitrary selectivity, much of what we spoke on last week.
Yeah.
Polarization, and it deals us or puts us into the idea of separation. We are separate one from the other. We are separate in nations. We are separate in culture, as opposed to be really one humanity, one web of beingness, which exists in multitudinous ways, not only just as humans, but as plants and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's all energy.
And it's all an ecosystem.
So, and, oh, yeah. And the other part of the quotation of here and there, now and then, do not exist. Think about that. That's unique thought. Yes.
Oh, I like that. I do like that. You know, Paul, when we think about this, again, we can come right back down to what do we choose to build? How do we choose to live our lives? Is it constant, every day, you know, survival? Is it, I mean, there are mechanisms where we can reduce that, you know, trial and error. Humanity is phenomenal with this trial and error crap, you know, and there are those of us who can stand within this radiance and know exactly where we're going, exactly what has to be done. And guess what? There is no trial or error. It is you step into it, you do it, or you don't. It's like, go for it. these are those aspects when we take a look at, what is our purpose? To become the next best singer or the next best conqueror or become president of the United States, or is it just to be of service in whatever capacity that is?
Okay, I'm sure my dear wife will get on me about going beyond the aspects of this particular talk. Purpose, why are we
Go
here?
for it.
This
Go
type
for
of
it.
thing.
Go for it.
What I would like her to consider, and you to consider, my listeners, is everything that was said here is a purpose. It is the elite purpose or the macroscopic purpose. Indeed. And then we have the microscopic, those things after we get here on this earth plane, and everything is wiped out. And we don't remember ever being here in the first freaking place. And then we kind of start all over, but we don't, because we have a unconscious or subconscious delineation of purpose that we chose before we came in. Do we activate it? That depends on a lot of different things. Then we're back to what Paul said. We choose that purpose.
Yeah.
We make up our minds what we want to do. Do we want to conquer the world? Do we want to be a CEO of major corporations? Do we want to work in a factory, or do we want to go out and grow crops? Those are all purposes. Those are all intentional designs that we fit for ourselves. It's like clothing. Do you wear too big a clothing, too big an idea, a goal that can't be reached? Or do you get something that fits exactly? You measure it to your size.
I just gotta say this, because when Lee Tuox was speaking about it, seriously, think about this. We're on the other side, we're not born yet, okay? And we're like, yes, oh, God, we're gonna have a great opportunity. I can do this, and this, right? So we're gonna enter into this meat suit. We're gonna be constricted really, really tight within this meat suit, right? Now you're born. All of a sudden, you're born, you come out wet, 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 wet. And guess what? The environment that you've just been born into is absolutely positively freezing. You were just in the uterus. You were like bathed in this beautiful amniotic fluid. It had everything to do with temperature control. It was like heaven on earth, right? And then all of a sudden, you come out this really dark hole. You got these bright lights that are in your eyes, and it's like blinding. And all of a sudden, now you're freezing, and you are definitely alone because you're not attached anymore, right?
So Diana has presented, I'm sure Paul, you'll mention this, of desiring to move into agape love. Well, that's a very large purpose and goal. Now, is there a difference between purpose and goal?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes. And that's why when I talk about survival, there's where the difference comes in. Let me break this down to you in things that I'm going to use words that you've brought to me that helps me explain what the meaning is. Serving self versus self-serving. The whole key to survival, okay? And again, everyone looks at survival in a different way. Survival is breathing the air, feeding yourself, and taking in everything that you can. That's survival. Now, when you change that definition to, I have to eliminate everybody in my way, that's a whole different interpretation of survival. I will kill anything that walks in my path. Whole different interpretation of survival. That is self-serving. When you're taking from others and you don't care about others, that is self-serving. When you're willing to step on other people, let other people go hungry, that is self-serving.
Or dictate how other people are going to live.
That is survival for self.
Yeah.
Okay? So I look at survival in a whole different light. I look at survival as serving the greater good for all people. So I serve self first
In a healthy way.
in a healthy way. And with that, I bring love and kindness and joy. Now, imagine this. Imagine this. If everybody was serving self, then there wouldn't be hate, there wouldn't be animosity. Everybody would flourish. Everybody would flourish. And when I say flourish, I don't mean everybody's going to have millions of dollars and castles and all of this stuff. When I say flourish, I'm talking about happiness,
Mhm.
talking about joy, talking about doing things that you like,
Mhm.
having great conversation with other people, helping other people, giving joy to other people, making other people smile, and
Mhm.
other people wanting to do the same thing. That is how I see the edifice of life.
The other aspect is, and Diana had made a mention of it about stepping into that agape love. Do you know, instead of dismantling all of those around you through selfishness, hatred, condemnation,
Mhm.
can't say the word condemnation, um, judgments, criticisms, all of these things that we make these snap judgments, and then from those snap judgments we find a position, usually in opposition. I will just have to say, the light, those who serve, there is no opposition.
Correct.
There is none. Period. It doesn't exist, because the light transforms all of it. But when we think in the greatest realm, like agape love, truly our human minds really cannot conceive the deeper aspects to what it is. I truly do not believe, because there's not even words that could actually give a description of it. There just isn't. That agape love is a part of us where we can go and be in service. There's three aspects to that, Paul, of when it's uh self, if self comes first, self-service, then there's serving self, and then there's service to others. There
Correct.
are three. There's a trinity with it. There are three. And the agape love, the part that Diana was speaking about, is that ability of our very own purpose to be able to bless our fellow man. What does that mean? Is it, oh, wishful thinking? We're going to say a little prayer over here, and we'll pray to make sure that guns and everything else, and you're okay, but we're going to continue to keep our guns. That is a selfish aspect. I'm not going into the Second Amendment or anything like that, but when you think about how destructive these things are, we had a conversation just, what was it, yesterday? Or yeah, yesterday or day before, about that. Like me, a pistol and they're fun, but the thing is that um, when we're looking at being of service to others and to send blessings and send those rays of light and those rays of energy out to everyone, wow, so that perhaps they may be able to quiet some of their emotional aspects that are hanging them up, whether through limitation or, just feeling foul about themselves. Wow, that is a service for humanity. And if we continue through humanity to create those divisions, us against them, I'm sorry, that is not in service to self, and it is not in service to others. So the purpose, our purpose as humanity, it truly is to be of service in one way or another. And when we're not, guess what? our life derails like you wouldn't believe. Why? Because what we send out always comes back to us multiplied. So if you're trying to control others because of a belief system, if you're trying, this is my belief, and I'm Christian, and this is what I believe, and everybody else has to believe it too. Why? Why are you so afraid to stand out all by your lonesome and be okay if nobody else believes in that Christianity of what you believe? Now, I'm not saying I don't, but what I'm saying is I honor each and every single person, whether I agree with their belief system or not. Why? Because they have a purpose for doing so, whether I agree with it or not. And again, Paul, this comes right back down to kind of about what you speak about within our governments, within those control dramas, right? It's like, really, live and let live, right? I mean, if you guys, if there's so many people out there that's, no, it's got to be my way or the highway, well, then guess what? You're trying to govern other people. And it comes, and I'll say it over and over again. If you have to govern other people based on your own beliefs, you cannot govern yourselves. So why would anybody ever follow you?
You know, if we take a lesson from nature,
Hmm.
they have a collective. If a pup wanders off by itself, it's going to die. It has to be there and it has to be nurtured by the family of wolves or the family of whatever creature it is. If it doesn't have that nourishment, those nutrients of love and training, then it simply perishes. And that's what happens to us as humans as well.
Mm.
If we do not have the comfort, we become this bitter, I won't mention names, person that only can think of one thing, making money, which creates dominion for them, they think, and creates power, what is translates into influence more than power. I have my own definition of power.
Mhm.
That's nowhere near what money buys.
No,
Nowhere
none.
near at all.
Now, there, just very quickly, because there is, from what I'm saying, I don't know if you can pull it up on the screen or not, but Diana kind of asks a question and she says, purpose and goal can be synonymous. It just takes work, right? No, purpose is purpose. A goal can help get us to attain what that is through the edifice of life, through our actions, our words, our deeds. We can create these stepping stones. A purpose is completely different. There is a purpose within our own life stream. Our own life stream is to fulfill the divine plan. And not very many people recognize or understand or know what that divine plan is because it gets tainted through what a religious structure, a business religious structure is instructing. And so, no, Diana, the purpose and goals are vastly different, vastly different.
Yes.
Because we can look at goals like on a 3-month basis or a 6-month basis, but a purpose is from life to death to life.
And behind the purpose should be a plan.
Yes.
Yeah.
And through that plan, goals are set.
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly. You know, and like I said, my purpose versus being born purpose, survival. My purpose is love for everybody.
Mhm.
Now, how do I obtain that? Well, I have to set goals. I have to, where you said there's three, where I said there's self-serving and serving self. The only reason why I talk about two is because I'm not ready to put everything I have into the third yet.
The service of others, you do it all the time.
Correct.
You do it all the time.
I do, but I don't put myself into it.
Turn the light on.
Let me explain. I have things with myself that I have to fix first. Now, That doesn't mean I can't be in service to others along the way. You're
Mhm.
right. I do that all the time,
Mhm.
but that's not my main focus because I haven't reached the goals that I have set for self to make sure that self is at its utmost perfect sense that it can be to do the greatest service
Mhm.
for others. And I have to work on that first. And once I have that accomplished, and I'm close,
Yeah.
I'm actually really, really close. I put a lot of time into that.
I'm sorry, I will disagree with you on that, Paul, because again, that's under a human construct. It's our human logic that is thinking. But quite honestly, a child born today can serve the greatest purpose for humanity
Yes.
just by being. And
Yes.
so again, you're looking at, okay, well, it's kind of like that old adage about when is somebody really ready to have a child? Never. There's not a parent, there is not a person on this planet that whether they're pregnant or not, is like, oh, I'm ready to be a parent. I'm sorry, kids do not come with instructions painted on their ass or the bottom of their feet. They just don't. And what works for one kid is not going to work for another. So you're never ready. And so, and to be a parent, literally, everybody thinks they are. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I know this. Well, no, no, no. Sorry, no. Because if you were truly, if you were, nobody would have children anymore. Nobody would ever have children. It's like
Right.
there's no freaking way, right? But Paul, and this is what I'm saying is like when we look at that Trinity in service, okay,
Yes.
being self-serving, serving self in a healthy way, or service to others, we can always, every single moment, be of service to others. It could be nothing more than when you're walking into that grocery store or you're walking into that gas station and you smile at someone. It
Correct.
may be holding a door for someone. Service comes in so many different aspects, and it can be, there's no other feeling. How really try, has anyone really ever tried to describe what the feeling feels like when, say, for instance, you donate, whether it be some clothes or you donate some time or you donate perhaps some amount of money somewhere,
It's an
when you
inner
are
glow.
giving of yourself,
Yeah.
there's no other feeling like it in the world, especially when nothing is requested in return. It is just given freely like this. And it's the same thing that we get to do every single moment by blessing, by sending blessings to other people. Diana has this saying that, like when somebody is perhaps misbehaving, maybe somebody is not fully aware of something and they slip up or make mistakes or drop the balls or whatever. You think about it. It's like a puppy peeing on the carpet. What are you going to do with that puppy? What, are you supposed to kick it? Are you supposed to just go over there, clean the stuff up, let the dog go out, the puppy go out? You train the puppy, right? And so just because there was an accident, an error, does not mean that we can't forgive, right? We forgive that puppy because we recognize, just like a baby, we know babies, it's like, you remember, going around, the kids are starting to learn to walk, and you're like, oh my, get a pillow out, a cushion. These are these things that we get to do in a very altruistic way. And not everybody recognizes. There's people don't recognize how many, blessings and thoughtful, what would be the word? Thoughtful intent to enfold people in this radiatory love.
Mm-hmm.
That is being in service. Even
Yes.
if even if you like are trying to, Paul, like say, hey, have you ever thought of something this way?
Right.
People get stuck within their own framework, their
Right.
own thoughts, their own actions, their own words. in deeds. It would be like, what are you going to do? Have somebody has a business, right? And they're really in the red. And they've been trying and trying and trying. They just can't see where the error is. Why is money just constantly red? How do you get to the black? And then all of a sudden, here comes Paul. And Paul says, you know what? You may not like to hear this, but you know, you're going to save a lot more money if you start paying the bills instead of taking those extravagant, things all over the place. Pay the bills. You're not going to get charged for it. One small little tweak in a way somebody is understanding something, that is a blessing in disguise.
First, they must be able to understand responsibility.
Right.
And accountability. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Now, I just want to clarify on. I didn't say I wasn't in service. I just said that's not my focus. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, I am always in service. I'm always smiling, waving at my neighbors, doing good things when I can. It's just not where I put all of my attention right now.
Mm-hmm.
My attention is making sure that I am the best that I can be at this moment. And what I mean by that is I have a lot of things in my life that I have to fix. One, I still have depression that I'm dealing with. I have grief that I'm dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to get to a point to where that's not a negativity in my life. I have to make it a positiveness. And that's like the one final thing that I'm trying to overcome right now. And when I can overcome that, then I can put my heart and soul into that service for others. And that's where I'm at. Like I said, it's not that I don't do it. I do. It's just that's not where my focus is. My focus so because if I can't have myself right, then how can I?
Yeah. Everything going out would be tainted.
Right.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is adversity in and of itself is a service. Let's say that a child is abandoned by mother, by father at birth, is sent through the programs that states have set up for taking care of children that are not cared for. And that creates in itself an abandonment throughout that child's entire lifetime. So, what does that child learn? Does he learn anger, bitterness? Does he learn fear? Does he learn grief? Learn grief? What does he learn? Hopefully, that individual comes to see and understand that this is an advantage. Why? Because that individual is taught independence, independent thinking without being culturated into a framework of somebody else's belief. It is that advantage that that person has to take hold of their own life and adjust it to their survival requirements, like, dumpster diving. That's a great one. Or, walking the streets late at night trying to find a place to lay down. That's another great one. Those are all adversities, but they are teachers. And in that teaching is a greatness of many things. It teaches us temperance. It teaches us kindness. It teaches us understanding, compassion, if we allow it to.
And here's another side to that coin, that child may very well feel abandoned or not loved because was given up for adoption, for instance. But what if it was the greatest wisdom that mother or the parent, the biological parent had, was because they knew I'm not ready, right? I am not ready for this emotionally, financially, intellectually, in any capacity,
or self-serving,
to care for another individual. So many people think that, we'll just raise a kid, pop one out, put a diaper on it, stick a bottle in its mouth, and we're all good to go. It's a lot more involved in raising children than just that. So quite honestly, there could be these crises that create those points of tension for us to grow and expand. And sometimes the greatest love, a showing of that love, is the release, is saying, all right, you know what? I cannot care for this child. And I love this child enough to not be selfish and to put this child up for adoption so that child can have an opportunity for life. So again, it really depends on those positions and what you choose to take a look at. Because any person that's ever been adopted, and I know many, many people that have been adopted, and I know many people that were adopted that have put their children up for adoption. So recognize that, I will say it takes a community to raise a child. It really, really does.
It takes a community to let's take this even a step further and all that, because even to survive in today's world, to truly have an understanding of today's world, to truly comprehend where you're going to go from the point that you're at to the next point that you're going to go to, it takes a community.
Yeah.
Okay. And for the longest time in my life, I was absent a community. And even the small community that I had, there was still an absence because there was just surviving from day to day. There was no getting beyond from point A to point B because you're trapped in point A.
Mm-hmm.
No jumping out of that circle. And in the last 2-3 years, I have increased my circle, my community,
Mm-hmm.
with people that will help me move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The people that were in my circle that were keeping me at point A are no longer there. They're no
Mm-hmm.
longer holding me to point A. I can
Right.
now move to point B and point C and point D because of the people like yourself, like you and Lee. Cornelia, who gave us that beautiful heart up there at the top and all that says that she loves it. Hello, Cornelia. Love you too. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And then, Jackie, who's in the comments, Diane, who's in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
So, they have all helped me move out of point A to get to point B, So it takes a community, not only from the day that you're born with the circle that you have to help you grow, but when you leave that circle and you go into another circle, you still need community.
Yeah.
You still need people there that truly have your best interests, in mind.
Yep.
And you also have to have their best
Yeah.
interest.
Well, I will say this. There are some communities when you're speaking about parents, well, within the indigenous communities, you may ask, who's your mother? All of them. All the women.
Mm-hmm.
They're all parents. They're all, whether it be an aunt or a grandmother or whatever, the entire community rallies together. And so it's like, I know even when we were children and we'd be playing next door. Well, guess what? During that time when we were over there, they weren't babysitters, they were our parents.
Yeah.
Why? Because they were the adult in charge at the time. Now, it doesn't mean they were able to take out a whipping post and start beating us across the butt, but the point being that it takes a community to truly envelop the young ones and teach them. And yeah, okay, we have the different cultures and and this and that, but who's to say that my culture is better than someone else's or someone else's is better than mine? No. When we learn and we're open to other cultures, does that not serve a greater purpose? Does that
Yes.
not Could it not come through for a greater understanding? Could that also be a part of what our purpose on this planet is? To find understanding in our fellow human beings instead of the division of us against them. There is no us against them. If people are thinking like that, I'm sorry, then you are not serving the light. You cannot serve two masters. And that light is love. It is the agape love of everything. And it flows through us. It is a part of us. It is within our DNA. It is within our breath that we take. It beats within our heart.
Yep.
Oh my.
I think something should be recognized. This is somewhat what you're talking about, Paul, reflective of B.F. Skinner's reward system, in which he rewarded his daughter for everything and anything. And when the daughter was 21, she sued her father for neglected cruelty because she could not do anything without anticipating a reward. And that's not the way this world works, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So when people have helped you and perhaps you act in a certain way and did not ask for it, but what you happened when you did help and get development from that help, that was a reward. Whether it was conscious seeking or not, it was still a reward. You were able to benefit from another's teaching, another's love, another's concern, or you're able to benefit from their dominion and from their punishment and move out of that and recognizing that is not a way to live.
Yes. And, and Lee Two Hawks makes this phenomenal point. And if we take a look, and I'm going to ask this question in all honesty, all right? Each and every one of us can take a look at the parents, whether they were caregivers, whether they were, adoptive parents, whether it was an aunt or an uncle. I'm speaking of some person within your life, okay? We're all human, you guys. We don't come with instructions, right? So therefore, how many of us are holding grudges against our parents because, well, our parents didn't do this and didn't buy me that little red wagon. Oh my gosh, they didn't buy it for me, and it was just horrible. Or my parents were so cruel, they beat me every night. They did all these things, and you know what? When it comes down, push comes to shove. If we can take a look and step into that aspect of forgiveness, all right, and recognize that we can blame. We can pass that blame across the board as much as we like. Who does that serve? Who does passing that blame and saying it's all your fault the way I turned out? Well, you know what? Each and every one of us has a choice to make, a decision to make. And when we can relinquish, when we can let go of those ideas that we are a victim, we are the victims of our parents. Well, yeah, okay. Well, then go for it. If that does it for you. But you know what? That's just trial and error. This is more pain, more, all these little synapses are going to start getting hit within the head, right? Triggering this and triggering that. And you know what? That is the part that we started with. That is that survival mechanism.
Yep.
We were never meant to be born here, to be put into this survival mode. We can choose. If you were to count that as a blessing, you know what? I am stronger. I am a badass because of my parents. They taught me those lessons were freaking crueler than shit. But you know what? I can see this stuff coming a mile away, and I'm never going to fall for it again. Wow. If
Yeah.
that is an awareness, I don't know what is. Count those blessings, because if you can see them as a blessing, they no longer hold power over you. Hello. When we continue to blame, these people didn't do this, didn't do that, I didn't get my way, oh my, they hold no power. Same thing in our political structure. Paul, take it away. Because seriously, when we really think about it,
Mm-hmm.
they hold no power over us. Oh my. People think they do, but they cannot govern themselves. Therefore, they hold no freaking power. Big picture.
Yes.
Big picture.
Yeah.
They can imprison you. They can take your paycheck away, but they cannot take your spirit away. They cannot take whatever you have learned away from you. It is yours. You own it. You're accredited from it. Okay, so all I'm saying is they can try to play these games for eons. And again, it's under the human construct. It's under the human emotional aspect because there's no greater awareness to who we truly are and our purpose here.
Now you could have a purpose for survival, but a different intent.
Yep.
My intent is to create harm for other people because it returns to me as validation of myself.
Yep. The pain I suffered. Yeah. Oh my. And so people who have only seen cruelty in their lives, how else are they to respond? And again, we're going to bring up the little puppy peeing on the carpet.
See,
There's no greater awareness. And this is how we can be of service to all. Send those blessings out, unfold them in, this loving embrace, God's loving embrace. It's energy, guys. It's energy. It's
exactly.
free. It's free, it's limitless, and it's abundant.
Exactly. I've heard people say, well, I'm the product of my parents. Well,
Now you can choose differently.
as soon as you say you're the product of your parents, you just said I'm the victim.
You got it.
Okay. And you were talking about those that are in power, that they have no power. Their power is an illusion.
Yep.
Okay. It's
Yep.
an illusion. Do they have the ability to write the laws? Yes, they do.
Mm-hmm.
They think that's
They have
power.
the ability to change them.
Exactly. They write the laws. They take away rights. They do all of this stuff. And yes, we sit back and what are we going to do? What are we going to do? It's so scary. There's this thing called Project 2025, which is basically going to make people come and hunt me down because of my beliefs. Again, I could sit here and I could be scared. I could live in fear, and I could go hide. I could go pull my blanket up and snuggle in and just be like, no.
Money I can send to you. Put it under the blanket.
That's not going to do anything. That's not going to do anything. Now, if I continue to go out into this world, and could bad things happen to me? Yeah, they certainly could, but I don't fear it. I don't fear it because I know that no matter what happens to, as you called it, this meat sack, okay, this human form, no matter what happens to this, energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It changes form. And let me tell you, when I go back out there and the essence of what I am realizes that, okay, either this went exactly the way we wanted it, it didn't go the way we wanted it. Let's go back in and let's get it right this time. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm going to do, because there is where my thought process on a lot of things has changed, is because I used to live in fear. You talked about parents. They did this, they do that. Okay. You didn't hold the flashlight for my father. All right. Let me tell you right now, you didn't hold the flashlight for my father. There ain't a damn thing that you can throw at me in relation to insults that's going to come close to the things that my father used to say to me when I held that flashlight. So I've already heard it all. So that kind of stuff doesn't even bother me anymore. People can call me names. They can say all these different things. And I don't care, because for me, it has no meaning. It has no meaning.
Yep.
and you say, I love you, Paul, every time we hang up on the phone, that has meaning. When Diana says, I love you, Paul, every time we hang up the phone,
Yeah.
that has meaning. When Cornelia says, I love you, Paul, when we hang up the phone, that has meaning. Okay. When I talk to somebody and, they're going through something and I can give them a hug,
Yep.
that has meaning.
Yeah. And
Okay.
that's being in service.
Okay. And the thing about having that meaning, it makes you feel that inner glow. It makes you feel that what you're supposed to feel as a human being. But when you're trying to go out there and you're trying to intentionally hurt other people and take other people's rights away and put people down, trying to make them feel less, trying to make them feel inferior because you have this false sense of superiority, this illusion that you are better than everybody else.
Or more.
It's an illusion.
Yes. Well, here's the thing. I would just like to make a mention of this, and then we can start closing this down a little bit.
Yes.
Because there's many laws that are being written, especially in the United States, okay, where certain rights, people would see that as a certain inalienable right to whatever, right? Now I'm going to choose my words very carefully here, because when these individuals who are under the influence of this illusionary power, and they are going to place things before us. This is how everybody should behave. This is how everybody's got to live. And it's done under my construct of what I think is correct. Let me just say, what you put out there comes back to you. So if you are choosing to incorporate and limit your fellow human being, you have just limited yourself. So consider it like cut your nose off to spite your face. That's exactly what you're doing. Because this is not an area of where so many people think they understand something. So many people think they know what's best for someone else. But I'm going to tell you, the only person that knows what's best for you is you. It's got nothing to do. Yeah. Oh my. All right, I said it. I tried not to, okay, but I do have to put the oh my there.
Well, eventually we have to find a place and find a discovery of why there's a Putin with billions of dollars who has authority over many things, and Idi Amin, who is cruel and brutal. We can think of all the tyrants that have existed at this time in our life.
Because they live in fear.
Well, then fear may be a good thing if it makes that palace for you and you can eat every day and stay warm and et cetera, et cetera. It's time.
Yep, it's time. And that is very self-serving. And so we're just saying energy is changing. That old, I'm sorry, I don't mean to pick on grandpas in any shape, manner, or form, but here, listen up, people, okay? Because that very, very old, stagnant, stale energy with the proverbial grandpa that's miserable, and we all have grandpas and we all have those Uncle Joes and Uncle Ralphs out there, okay, that, this is just the way it is and they're opinionated and there's no budging. Well, guess what? All that old thinking of controlling everyone, that's old, stale, old man, stale, grumpy ass men. Sorry, now is the time where a little bit of this beautiful feminine energy is coming in of love and nurturance and acceptance.
I'm fading. I'm fading. I'm fading.
And he is a grandpa.
And I'm just going to add to it and all that because I can remember. I love my grandpa. He passed away a long, long, long time ago, and we were sitting at I think it was a Thanksgiving dinner. And I can remember I was just a little guy. And I can remember my grandfather stating, well, that's just the way things are.
Mhm.
And I remember sitting there and I go, but Grandpa, I'm sitting here at the table, so they're not. And my grandfather just kind of looked at me and went,
Hmm.
And from there on out, the way my grandfather looked at things became different. My grandfather and I became really, really close
Oh.
because I showed him another way. And I was a child. I was a child. I hadn't stepped into where I'm at now, but it's because of things like that
Mhm.
as to why I am where I'm at now.
Yeah. Hey,
Because
I'm not picking on all grandpas.
I know
I'm just speaking on the
I'm
ones
just
that.
saying, I can look back
Mhm.
and it's those things. I can look back at all the bad. That's easy.
Oh yeah.
Is to look back at those little moments that
Yeah.
truly mean something and to take something from it. Okay. I mean, that's the same grandpa that pulled out a pocket knife and handed it to me and said, go cut your switch off. Okay. Go pick your switch.
Yeah.
That's what he's going to whoop my butt with. All right. So I'm telling you, when you can see things in a different way,
Yep.
a better way,
Yep.
you can plant those seeds. That's what it comes down to.
It does.
Planting those seeds.
Yes. And recognizing that truly, our purpose here, I mean, we each may have an individual purpose based on a personality. Okay, you got a great talent to sing. Okay, your purpose is to become the next Whitney Houston. Okay, give you that. However, on the broad side, the big, big, big picture, it is for us to find our expression for ourselves. And through that expression is delivered that beautiful, loving essence. Simple. It's pretty elementary. It really is. But Paul, we're up on time.
Yep. And I'm going to tell you real quick here, just to end it all. I'm going to tell you
Okay.
what my purpose in life is to bring perfection, love, kindness, peace, and harmony to the world. And before I pass on and go into the next, this will be a world of love.
Ooh, oh my.
Oh,
Well, next time Halloween comes, I'm going to stop by your door and knock. You can give me some of that.
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. All right, everybody. I love you. And
Thank
I want
you.
to say thank you for the heart from Cornelia and all that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell your friends to watch this. I'm no longer on X, Twitter, whatever in the hell you want to call it. And nor am I coming back because I'm loving all the free time I have. I'm not coming back to X. I don't care what anybody says. I love not being on X. So,
Yeah, right.
so share, subscribe, like, tell your friends, get more people to come on here, get more people to subscribe, help me build my algorithm. Let me get the love out there to everybody. And in the meantime, remember, be kind, be happy, and make good things come your way. Love you.
Thank you. Thank you. Meow.
Meow.
Meow.